Good morning here in Los Angeles. This is Valerie Milano with the Hollywood Times, and I'm going to let our guest introduce himself. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jesus Trejo. I'm a stand-up comedian and also executive producer and host of a brand new show called Roots of Comedy with Jesus Trejo. My name's in the thing, and it premiered on PBS a couple weeks ago on the PBS app, and it's about to be launched on June 21st on all local PBS channels.
Thank you, Jesus, for taking the time this morning. This series, Roots of Comedy, is an ambitious project, examining what's funny, who is funny, where it's funny, and why it's funny. The result is thought-provoking, and it looks at sometimes controversial, sometimes emotional, and almost always funny branch of entertainment. This is a serious look at your craft. So I wonder what prompted you to undertake this ambitious project, and how did you choose the comics to feature?
So the show basically takes a deep dive into, the idea of the show is that every joke can be traced back to community. And, we see some really fun jokes, and, it's like, I think it was really cool to be able to give the viewer context to these specific comics, but also in comedy in general, that it's like you get to understand a joke better when you're able to trace it back to community. But all that, you understand the joke more when it's like, in this series we got to meet family, we got to hang out where they're from, we got to see their daily grind of doing shows, the hustle. So it's like, I feel like when you are able to see that, it informs the viewer or the audience member even more when it comes to watching stand-up comedian. And it was hard. I mean, there were so many comedians to choose from, and we had a long list, but ultimately, we landed on a list that we felt was diverse and just amazing. I mean, their stories are so awesome, and we fell in love with them, and that's what we hope the viewer, I hope the viewer is able to fall in love with the 6 comedians that we picked just as much as we did.
Everybody thinks they can do comedy, but it is not as simple as telling a joke, is it? I mean, how much of what you do relies on the material, and how much calls on the charisma and talent of the comic?
I think that equation is different on a case-by-case basis. When you look at a stand-up comedian, it's like everyone thinks they can do comedy, including myself. I mean, I'm still trying to figure it out. It's like a never-ending thing. You just like, you take risks. You're ultimately, you want to bring your authentic self to the stage, and when you're able to do that, I think the percentage of charisma versus written material just depends on the person. Some people like are able to bring completely themselves on stage. That's all the charisma, and the stuff that the material just comes out naturally. So it's like, it just depends. Some comics are off the top more improvisational, some people are more sit down and write a joke, some people are more autobiographical, some people are more observational. So it just totally depends, and I think there's an infinite amount of ways you can spin that equation.
Jesus, as you look at the various comics for this series, do you find any commonalities, or is it their differences that make them uniquely funny?
I think we're able to find commonality through the specificity of each of the guests that we featured on the project, and yeah, I think we have so much in common. I think the through line here is that every single one of these comedians that we featured is, they've dedicated their adult lives to the thing that I've dedicated my adult life to, which is stand-up comedy, this storytelling vehicle under the umbrella of comedy. And it's like, all things under this umbrella is comedy, and we find a way to do it. Now, the specificity is stand-up comedy in particular, and they all are very much themselves on stage. And I thought that was really cool. Like, I always found it fascinating when you're able to watch a comedian on stage and they get off stage or the show's done and you walk away going, I know a thing or two about that person, something about their lives, the way they think, that kind of thing. So it's like, observational comedy But in a yeah, when you're able to relate to it, it's like that to me was really riveting. And we have 6 comedians here in this series. We were in Texas, we're in Portland, we were in we were in LA, we were in Minneapolis, we were at the Navajo reservation in Chile, Arizona. So we were able to get a slice of life out of so many different places. And we come to find out that a lot of it is like, it's kind of the same experience. It's like close to family, friends, pride for where you're from, and bringing authentic self to stage.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I was going to ask, are there places in the United States that are more accommodating to comics? That is where a comic can go to this country to find an audience that will appreciate their talents. On the other side of the coin, are there certain places comics should avoid?
I don't think, it's interesting. That's a very interesting question. Really great question. I don't know that there's any place a comic should avoid, but at the same time, I don't think a place that a comic can go to get like understood off the bat. It's like you shouldn't avoid it, but the perfect yeah, it's like the place where all the variables align doesn't exist either. And that's what comedy is. It's like you show up, you don't fix the rim, you fix your shot, but you still are your authentic self, so it's like if you're a good basketball player, you fix your shot, it doesn't mean that you're a different kind of basketball player. It's like I can play under these circumstances, but ultimately, it's like it'd be nice to play in a the Staples Center where everything is perfect, but those are very few in between. So in the meantime, you have to find the kind of comic you are on stage, the kind of player, what kind of shot you have, and your fortes, and you play to that. So,
and I guess it depends on your material as well. Yeah,
that,
yeah. Aside from yourself, of course, do you have a favorite comic, and who is it?
I'm not my favorite for sure.
Okay.
That's very sweet. No, I'm yes, I have so many. It's like the list goes on and on from comics of yesteryear to now. There's so many different voices, and honestly, I'll say that about I was a student and a fan of comedy first, and I have always embraced and kept an open mind to any comedian's style of comedy. So I like physical, I like uh, even like Lauren Hardy and Buster Keaton and that era of comedy all the way to stand up. So it's like I keep an open mind and I love it all. It's like as long as it's focused and doing the one thing that I want, it's making people laugh. It's like I'm in.
Tell our viewers and our readers, how can we find the show? How can we find you and your
Yes.
comedy? Yeah.
So you guys could check out the show. You guys could go download the PBS app. You can watch all 6 episodes right now on the PBS app. Roots of Comedy with Jesus Trejo. We have some amazing comedians on there. Go check it out. And also June 21st, all the local PBS stations, you can, across the country, coast to coast, you'll be able to see it starting June 21st. And you can go on JesusTrejo.com for upcoming shows. I'm gonna get ready to tour here towards the end of the year. So go catch the comedians on tour that you see on the show, and I'll be on tour as well.
Wonderful. We're the Hollywood Times Official is our YouTube channel, and HollywoodTimes.net is our website. And thank you so much, Jesus Trejo, for being here this morning, as busy
Thank you so
as
much
you
for
are.
having me.
Okay, hopefully we can meet in person one day.
Yes.
Be
Yeah,
great.
I look forward to that. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.